I'm here with Therese of Mayors of Thrace. They have a new album coming out, The Loss, May 16th on Artifact Records. Always a pleasure to see you, always a pleasure to talk to you, and even a greater pleasure to listen to new music.
I'm getting to do this round of press again. It's like, hey, it's all these people I like who I got to talk to last year. But this is the best job ever.
Yeah, I have the best job ever because I get to listen to the music and then I get to talk to you about it. So let's unpack this record. I feel like this is a very different record for you guys. It surprised me from the get-go. Uh, Man, really, there's a lot to unpack. So, the album is called The Loss, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I really feel like this is not necessarily a concept record, but this is more like of a theme record where loss is really the theme, and you kind of navigate through the different stages of loss. So, is that how you guys see the record, or you see it more from a conceptual standpoint?
Uh, Concept records sound so lofty and cerebral, like this deeply intellectual person. I That's not really how I write stuff. They all just kind of write themselves in more like a me vomiting feelings out, but there's usually some sort of unified. There is usually they're usually collection. It always comes out as like a collection along a theme, and this was, man, it's such a downer when I talk about it now because I did an interview a few days ago and the guy said, he led with saying, "Are you okay?" Yes, I'm great. I'm fantastic. But the truth is that at a certain point in your life, the losses start piling up really high. And like, particularly after COVID, I think this is a very common experience. But, like that, as you exit your 30s and get into your 40s, like your parents start dying and falling apart, and all of their friends are dying. And it just kind of hits you in the face that our time is all rapidly running out. And our bodies are falling apart and the world is changing very, very rapidly. And I guess this whole record is about various stages of coming to terms with that. Some of the songs are named after Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who is a Swiss psychoanalyst, a Swiss American psychoanalyst. She coined the famous stages of grieving.
Yeah, the five stages.
Yeah, the internet disagrees on how many there are, but they're not obviously set in stone, and everybody experiences them differently. And with regards to certain things, I there's an old Simpsons episode where Homer eats this poisonous fugu fish and is given a very short amount of time to live, and he goes through all of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's stages, but very fast and randomly, like in no random order, and that's how I did. But I mean,
Your own
acceptance.
very your very own approach to it.
Acceptance did eventually happen, so that's good. That's why it's the last song.
I've gone through the stages of grief, I guess. Acceptance has never really been one that I've been able to conquer, at least when it came to personal loss. And that's kind of takes me to my next question. Is this album as much of you handling your own way of dealing with loss, or is this album also to help others learn how to deal with loss?
It's always both. And sometimes the more like embarrassingly vulnerable and real I got about it, the more people would come up to me and say, "Hey, that song really, really spoke to me, and I can totally relate with that," because really, loss is one of the most universal human things. Uh, the song track four, "Anger," it's about when I introduced it when we played it live, and I said, "This is going out to everybody whose immigrant parents did their best but still really fucked them up." And every time I introduced it like that on stage, I had a few people come up to me afterwards and like be like, "That really got me."
But you know what's funny about that? Being an immigrant myself, so I fall under that category. I guess I fucked up my son. But being an immigrant myself and having a 21 year old, um, it's a never-ending cycle. You know, you realize that, right? Like if I'm sure he's gonna find a way of fucking up his own kids in some sort of way. Like it's just inevitable.
All parents fuck up their kids, and
Yeah.
like it's unrealistic to expect them not to. And like you forgive your parents for being human, and you try and forgive yourself for being human, and hopefully your kids will forgive you for being human. You know.
This album felt to me as perhaps the most emotionally driven record that you guys have ever done. I mean, there's certain points on the album where not, I'm going to use the word unhinged because you almost feel emotionally unhinged the way you're singing and the way you're performing, but the album never goes chaotic. The record it never loses track of itself. Do you know what I mean? Do you agree with that statement of being a little bit unhinged on this record?
Oh yeah, that was the goal. If a friend of mine had an interesting comment, we were playing live, and I was just doing the death growl that I usually do, and then just in the spirit of the moment, I just yelled this one part, and afterwards she said that the yelling was more heavy than the full-on death growl, and she likened it to when you're having a really heated argument with someone and you're so emotional that your voice cracks. She said that's what it reminded her of. Whereas, Uniform Cookie Monster is not even that, like, it's almost kind of neutral. It's like white noise. And as soon as I heard that, I thought, oh my God, you're right. And so one of my favorite genres of music is crazy guy yelling. And so I did lean a bit more in that
Crazy
direction.
guy yelling?
Yeah, crazy guy yelling.
Well, at least you didn't say old guy yelling at the sky.
Oh, yeah, that also.
That's a subgenre. That's a subgenre of that genre, but okay. You know, I have to say this, going back to this unhinged topic, in what you said about your friend, I actually felt the most touching, the most, I mean, the most cutting through, like with a knife, like really cutting and twisting it, is actually when you went with clean vocals, because it almost felt to me like I've given up. Like, you know what I mean? It's that feeling like, when you're having an argument with someone and it goes from yelling to just like complete, not silence per se, but almost like there's no hope in this argument whatsoever. So I'm just gonna keep my cool and realize that this is a lost cause. So I kind of got the lost cause vibe from your clean vocals, and I thought they were haunting. They give me shivers. Like I was like, holy shit, she's given up. She's given up.
I like that we both just related metal vocals to getting in an argument. um, One fun thing about the clean vocals is that Casey has the prettiest singing voice, and a lot of the time live we'll do the classic Beauty and the Beast metal formula in which I'm the Beast and he's the Beauty. But I I also really like a good vocal harmony, so we like, especially in the studio, it was really really fun to do lots of vocal harmonies. But he's out of the two of us. If you hear a really beautiful voice on the album, that's him. That's not me.
I noticed in some tracks you guys really did it together with like almost like I wouldn't say necessarily backing vocals. You guys just had them simultaneously together, and just there was a nice, really symbiotic vibe between the two styles of vocals together, creating a little bit more depth into the overall vocal performance. Was this album more challenging when it came to the vocals, considering that whole unhinged vibe that the album has and the clean vocals? And I mean, you guys did a lot of different vocal styles on the record.
We uh we recorded with Scott Evans, who did he's in the band Calvin Walled City, which is I'm a huge fan of them, and he did the latest Sumac, and he's done a bunch of other, like, he's recorded a bunch of other really cool stuff. He's like, you can tell he's been doing this his whole life, and so he's not easy to impress. I know I impressed him because all the really fucked up, unhinged, like howling and screeching shit, I did most of that in one take. I guess the unhinged being unhinged comes very naturally to me. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, it comes naturally on this record. I gotta tell you, it's such I'm not gonna say a difficult record to unpack, but it's a record that if I play the first song, I have to listen to the whole thing. It's not an easy album to just pick a song here and there, because I really feel like there is a path and there's a journey, and we kind of going through that journey with you through it, which makes the record a little bit more demanding from that standpoint. Do you get that impression that this is a little bit more demanding record from a listener's point of view?
I I suppose it depends. I think the cool thing about making art of any kind is that everybody takes something different away from it. And like if somebody actually followed through the steps with me or maybe like found it useful in like an aid in working through something that they were going through, that's awesome. But also if it just happened to be a single on somebody's Spotify and that's how they engaged with it, that's good too, I guess.
I think this record is going to be my playlist next time I go to one of those what do you call it? Anger rooms where you get to break shit up. I think this record will be playing in the background because it's like
That's a compliment.
it's the soundtrack of me breaking shit up. I swear to God, I'm driving the car, these songs come on, half of them make me want to pull over and just break shit up. Like wow, this record had a very deep impact on my emotional state. I gotta tell you that. The album is not only super strong vocally and from a lyrical standpoint, but musically as well. I thought you guys did a wonderful job creating the perfect sound for the perfect set of emotions. When it came to that, I really feel like the guitars on this album are so versatile. Was that something that you guys worked really hard on creating the ability to be able to introduce some acoustic guitars here, some heavier sounds there, some more sludgier, some more doom elements? How was it for you?
We've kind of like whatever we have so many influences of different flavors of heavy music, and like it's kind of like a pendulum swinging. Like the last one was a bit more like doomy and even like a little bit stonery. This one is a lot more noise rocky, but also a little bit of black metal crept in. So I don't know, it's more that we get bored easily and need to need to mix things up quite a bit. Um, One thing that we do, we come Casey and I come from quite different musical backgrounds. Like all of his previous bands were very techie, proggy heavy. Um, but one thing that we really strongly agree on is dynamics. Like we would probably both get bored if any song was the same the whole way through, let alone like an album the whole way through. So we love a loud part and then a quiet part, or a fast part and then a slow part. It's
And
fun. Keeps me.
his work on this record is excellent as well. The drum sound is really good. Like while the guitars sometimes feel really fuzzy on the edges of the sound, the drums always have this sense of clarity. And he's phenomenal on the album. Who did you guys work with? Is you guys always work with the same team, or you take different albums with different approaches with different challenges?
Uh, Casey recorded The Exile, and in fact, he just recorded it like in his apartment. But this we went like the studio route. And then the pilgrimage we worked with Sanford Parker, who's worked with Yob and a bunch of other awesome bands. I it's I like working with different producers because you learn so much from the good ones. At the same time, oh my god, I had such a good time with Scott, and I had a good time with Sanford. It'd be really hard to. I can't even think about what we're gonna do on the next one. That's too far in the future. But
You just gotta enjoy you gotta enjoy this record now. As you were writing this record and as you're going through all of these different stages of the loss, is there one particular that speaks to you?
um, hmm, that's a that's a tough one. Huh. Well, they all suck is the thing. They all suck in their different way. And I actually wrote Acceptance. Acceptance was the very last one, and I took a really long time to write it because I hadn't gotten there yet. Uh, they're terrible. They're not good.
But in your mind is like let's go with acceptance for example. Is there such a thing as acceptance when it comes to loss?
Yeah, yeah, there is.
I haven't found it yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of like I think all schools of like all religions and all philosophies and even all schools of like therapy have different approaches to it, and I think the one that has resonated with me the most and helped me the most. I'm not particularly religious. Even philosophy, it's all after a certain point, it'll hit a point that I'll be like, okay, this is cool, this is cool. Oh no, wait, this part's bullshit. Um, I really like Zen Buddhism. Zen Buddhism basically says shit happens.
Put it simply and mildly.
Shit happens. Like that's what acceptance is, though. It shit happens.
I,
This
I know,
is
but acceptance could happen at the surface, but not necessarily within. Like I believe in reincarnation, so and I really believe that uh, we are destined to reach full potential as beings, whatever that means. And every time we come back with the goal of improving upon what we've done previously. Obviously, based on some people that I've met, they're probably just really early on in the stages because they're totally shit.
that's a
But
very nice.
so that should help me with acceptance. But I think deep down, and I lost my father. When I think about that loss, I still don't necessarily I understand it, but I don't necessarily accept it.
I also think that how everybody gets there is going to be very different for everybody. And sometimes people try really hard to work towards it and then they don't get there. And then other people are just chugging along, but and then one day it just hits them. Another really useful thing that I learned when I was doing all of the readings on this topic is if you feel like shit, if you're miserable and you wish you weren't miserable, like you wish you were happy, you're thinking about the times you were happy and you're wishing you were happy, that is in itself a negative experience. But if you just let yourself have the negative experience, if you're like, this fucking sucks and I hate this and I'm miserable, and this is how it's just going to be for a while, and that's okay, that's a positive experience.
I think you're a philosopher trapped in a musician's body.
I'm just repeating shit I read on the internet, man.
Just, but yeah, you don't have to say that. You can always say that this is all your own like ideas. Like, I went into this meditation state, reaching nirvana, not the band, and you know what I mean. Like, and I found enlightenment. I don't know. Just sell it like that.
Meditation is helpful, actually. I for my whole life I could not meditate. People were like, no, you just gotta like chill and slow down and stop, like just let your thoughts wander. And I thought I can't. Like my brain is just on, it's like the shuffle function, but like at 2 times speed, and then there's like 5 channels playing. Eventually I learned that's because I have ADHD. Like I have like the strongest humanly possible amount of ADHD. Um, but I can meditate now because I have meds. But
But
that also is embracing stillness. I think is a really useful thing to do for anybody, and that definitely helped me get to a place of acceptance.
I always when I'm talking about this topic, I always go back to my favorite movie, Platoon, and I always say that there's a line there when they're talking about like smoking weed, and Sergeant Barnes says that. So why did you guys do this to escape reality? I don't need to escape reality. I am reality. And that line, I know it sounds super cheesy, but that line is super philosophical. You know what I mean? So, while I appreciate you taking your meds, and I think you should continue to do so if that's what brings you happiness. I found happiness in the smaller things, and I think the a lot of us think happiness is a steady linear line, and it's not.
Oh, I said the meds didn't bring me because the meds are not. They're not. The meds help me drive better. That's not the meds help me drive better and actually concentrate on doing a job for 8 hours a day, which I couldn't before that. They're not really related to the emotions. That's a whole different other set of
Oh,
problems.
okay, okay, okay. So they're just there just to keep you in line.
They're to I guess the best example is when I was unmedicated, I wouldn't use drywall anchors or a level when I hung up shelves, and the meds make me use drywall anchors and a level when I hang up shelves. How did I get on this topic?
I don't know, but I can only imagine like your house must have looked like Swiss cheese. That's all I gotta say. Like there's gonna be holes everywhere and everything falling off. That's kind of like me. So I'm not passing judgment. That's why I used Velcro, like the 3M Velcros to hang all the shit on the wall. That way I can take it down and put it back up again and not depend on that. But hey, we're getting completely off topic. Let's get back to the record. So, and you mentioned you're gonna be touring in the US. How much of this record is going to be part of this tour in terms of the set list, in terms of what you guys are going to be playing?
I would like to play. I think we don't have like I don't think anybody's too hurting to hear the old stuff, so I just want to play the new stuff.
Are you guys thinking of playing the whole record from start to finish?
Oh no, that's way too long. We're not headlining. We're opening for. a band that's a big deal that it's not announced yet. It's going to be announced very soon. But yeah, I like to play like a half hour slot as the openers, and the record's longer than that, so we'll trim it down a little bit.
Yeah, the record is 50 minutes. It doesn't feel like 50 minutes, by the way.
That's the best compliment.
I
Thank
think
you.
that's the best thing I said in this whole chat that we've been having.
Saying that it's your personal anger room soundtrack. That's an amazing. That warms my heart.
Well, I think I said three great things. I said that you were unhinged. I said that this album is the soundtrack to my anger room. And now I said that this album does not feel like it's 50 minutes in length. So I would take three.
Okay, I'll take all three.
I honestly I really love this album. I was impressed with what you guys did on this record. Not that you guys haven't impressed me with previous records, but this record, it just feels raw. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound raw, it feels raw. And that's an emotion that is not always easy to capture on a record, both musically and vocally. So I applaud both of you for the amazing work that you guys have done on this record. So much fun to listen to. I highly recommend, I made a post on Facebook. I highly recommend everybody go check out this album because it really is therapeutical to a certain degree, and then it becomes a little bit of your soundtrack um, to that rage, perhaps, or to that way of you dealing with your own personal losses. So amazing job.
That. Thank you so much.
You guys are phenomenal. I love both of you. I think just that you need to come to Toronto again soon, play some shows here. Because it's always fun to see the dynamic between the two of you. You guys have a great live dynamic as well.
The we had the last round of promo photos we did. The photographer was trying to get us to. She was trying to recapture our live energy. She wanted to capture some of the live energy, so she made us like yell at each other and try to take a photo with it. And Casey could not laugh. she, I can't look because he's such a sweetheart. Like I can't look at him and not smile. Like it was hard to look at him and make like a scary face. So that was fun. Did it capture the same live energy? No, but it was fun. But thank you. I really hope to get to Toronto soon.
Yeah, and I wish you all the success with the album, with the tour, with everything that you guys do. Keep this ball rolling. It was so nice to see that you guys have a new record coming out, and then to listen to it and sound so fresh. And the beauty is that you said earlier that you don't want to repeat yourselves, and you guys are super creative from that standpoint. I feel like when I listen to all of your records, they all have their own unique fingerprint, each single one of them, but at the same time, they all are part of who you are. And I think that's the other beauty of it, because you can connect the dots even though the lines may be really long in between those dots.
I thank you. That's another thing we strive for is that they are all different, but they're also all connected somehow.
And I think you guys have done that. Therese, thank you very much for your time. You're the best. I love you. I wish you all but great luck. No losses. No losses, just wins. I want you to listen to DJ Khaled. All I do is win instead of losses. So I just keep going with that. You know what? Maybe you guys should play that before you come on stage. All I do is win, and then you come on stage and you play this. That would be like quite the moment. So all the best for you.
Please give your son a high five for me. There's no doubt in my mind that you fucked him up as little as possible.
Listen, the other day I teabagged the guy. Now I did with an actual tea bag, not my balls, like an actual tea bag. Like I wetted an Earl Grey tea bag, and then I squatted, like as he was sleeping, I squatted on top of him and I teabagged his face while his girlfriend was filming. So if that's not love, or if that's not an immigrant father fucking up his son, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. So I think I checked that box.
That's amazing. That sounds like great parenting. That's what I would do if I was a kid. So
Hey, when you live in this house, you never know what's coming around the corner. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just got to be on your toes 100% of the time. That's the kind of guy I am.
yeah, same. Unhinged.
All right. All the best. All the best.
Okay, well, we'll hope to see you soon at Toronto.
Oh, same, same. Take care.